and replaced with the National Coffee Act number 17 of 2021. The act was revised by the Uganda Law Reform Commission and released in the 2023 7th edition as National Coffee Act Cap 38. The National Coffee Act Cap 38 mandates the UCDA to regulate both on-farm and on-farm activities in the coffee value chain. We all know the objects and justification of the bill. It's okay. It's okay. I can read. The object of the bill is to give effect to the government policy of rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure. The justification for the bill has been provided in the background to rationalization, and it raises the following fundamental issues which the committee interrogated. 1, whether there are mandates overlaps between UCDA and MAIF. 2, whether UCDA has served the purpose for which it was established. 3, whether UCDA cost of administration drains the treasury at the expense of service delivery. While considering the National Coffee Amendment Bill 2024, the committee held meetings with stakeholders like Buganda Caucus Parliamentary Team, Bugisu Caucus Parliamentary Group. We had Dutchmen's from Buganda Kingdom, Bunyoro Kingdom, and other coffee farmers organizations and groups. We also had petitions from others like Banya Kanungu Coffee Farmers Cooperative Union and others. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, findings, observation, and recommendations of the committee were based on the 3 questions that I had put earlier. 1 was whether there were mandate overlaps between UCDA and MAIF. The committee established that UCDA derives its mandate from the National Coffee Act 2021. Under Section 4 and 5, the functions of UCDA are to regulate all on-farm and off-farm activities in the coffee value chain, promote and oversee the quality of coffee along the value chain, support research and development, promote production and improve the marketing of coffee to optimize earnings for coffee stakeholders in the country. The committee notes that UCDA plays a pivotal role in overseeing coffee quality to ensure compliance with export contracts and international food safety standards. Quality management spans from seed to cup, which includes regulating planting materials, production, harvest, post-harvest practices, and processing to meet international standards. The committee further notes that in order to sustain the European market that constitutes 65% of Uganda coffee sales, UCDA developed a traceability system intended to support the sector to comply with the requirement of the European Union Deforestation and Corporate Sustainability and due diligence directives, whose deadline is on 1st January 2025. This traceability system will register coffee value chain actors, farmers, nursery operators, processors, roasters, and exporters. Failure to meet the European Union deadline will lead to loss of market for 65% of the country coffee exports. The committee concluded that there is no duplication of UCDA mandate with MAIF or any other government agency. The committee observed that the coffee sector is an important export earner that should be independently regulated to meet the demands of the export market. The civil service mode of operation and service delivery cannot efficiently undertake and deliver this mandate. This is important to note that UCDA has increased the production volume of coffee from 3.5 million 60 kilogram bags in 2014-15 to 8.06 million 60 bags currently, with a medium-term target of 20 million bags by 2029 to 30. Merging the mandate and abolishing UCDA at this time risks derailing this very critical target of the coffee roadmap. Another tool that we used was to find out whether UCDA has served the purpose for which it was established. The committee established that Uganda is currently one of the African top coffee exporters, with the revenue earnings rising from USD 883.3 million to USD 952.24 million from November 2021 to October 2022. Uganda recorded its highest coffee export of 6.26 million tons of 60 kilogram bags in 2021-2022 from 5.83 million tons of 60 bags in 2020-2021. The committee notes that government of Uganda has committed itself to achieving a target of producing 20 million 60 kilogram bags of coffee by 2030 as per the coffee roadmap. UCDA has distributed 475,098 coffee seedlings during the last 5 years, benefiting 937,605 farmers. This is likely to increase production from the current 8.16 million 60 bags in 2022-2023 to 13.7 million 60 kilograms from the current 8.1 bags in 2026-2027 as the country looks towards achieving the coffee roadmap. The committee notes that the coffee sector employs 12 million people, nearly 25% of Ugandan's population. Uganda Coffee Profile, that is 2018, along the value chain, and this is expected to grow as more investment is attracted, especially in value addition activities. Therefore, the international traceability and social inclusion warrants stronger regulations to meet market standard, which UCDA is effectively delivering. Quality assurance and research. Coffee quality assessment is a highly specialized technical field that is evaluated in two ways: a physical evaluation of the green and roasted coffee, and a sensory evaluation of the roasted beverage, which has been a core function of UCDA that has led to compliance by coffee producers and dealers with established standards. As a result of improved quality control, Uganda coffee has been ranked third in the world after Kenya and Ethiopia. Other milestones registered by UCDA include designation as a Center of Robusta of Excellence by the Coffee Quality Institute, in addition to certification and accreditation of the UCDA Coffee Laboratory in Logogo by CQI. In line with Section 38 of the National Coffee Act, the UCDA determines and regulates the types and varieties of coffee to be grown in different regions. This is informed by research conducted by National Coffee Research Institute, NACORI, with funding from cess collected by UCDA. This funding has greatly contributed to the coffee research and development agenda. Notably, the breeding of 10 coffee wilt disease-resistant varieties, which are also high-yielding, and the construction of the biotechnology laboratory at Logogo. UCDA also provides timely market information to stakeholders and monitor coffee prices on a daily basis, including price changes on the London and New York commodity exchanges, and translate these prices into equivalent local prices on a daily basis. Committee observation. Coffee quality control requires swiftness and high level of efficiency, which is best provided under the agency model. Despite the commendable achievement by UCDA, the task ahead is enormous and requires empowering and supporting the successor agency to sustain, consolidate, and build on UCDA achievement. Mainstreaming UCDA into MAIF immediately risks compromising quality and research efforts and may lead to information asymmetry. It would also jeopardize critical functions, leading to adverse effect on Uganda coffee export, and competitiveness. The committee notes that countries like Kenya and Ethiopia, which attempted immediate rationalization from the agency model to the ministry, suffered setbacks resulting into reduced coffee production for export. These countries have since reverted to the agency model. The committee is of the view that the mandate of UCDA, being a going concern, as it promotes one of our key export earners, that has a multiplier effect throughout the economy, is better served by the agency model in the interim as the ministry build capacity to seamlessly take over the mandate of UCDA. UCDA contribution to the Treasury. The committee was informed that UCDA contribute to the National Treasury through collection of non-tax revenue, which is remitted to the Consolidated Fund. Over the years, UCDA contribution to the National Treasury has been growing. For example, in the financial year 2023-2024, UCDA was allocated 44,756, while it contributed 82,253 to the National Treasury. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, given the above achievement and commitments, the committee recommends that UCDA be rationalized subject to a 3-year transition period to enable MAIF build capacity to execute the mandate that is under UCDA. The committee further recommends that during the transition period, the minister,
Honourable members, can you listen?
This is something very important. Right Honourable, I want to repeat.
You repeat the conclusion.
And I beg my colleagues to be calm. Time will come for debate. Given the above achievement and commitment of UCDA, the committee recommends that UCDA be rationalized subject to a subject to a 3-year transition period to enable MAIF build capacity to execute the mandate that is under UCDA.
Honourable members, I will not allow.
Furthermore, the committee recommends that during the transition period, the Ministry of Agriculture updates Parliament biannually on progress towards attainment of the requisite capacity to undertake the mandate of UCDA. Upon a satisfactory progress report to Parliament, the Minister responsible for Agriculture shall submit a statutory instrument for approval of Parliament to commence the Act. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I beg to report.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker,
you know,
the Shadow Minister, together with a number of members of Parliament on this Committee of Agriculture, that is Honourable John Paul Mpalanyi,
yes.
Honourable Santa Okot,
There's
Honourable Stella Isodo,
Madam Speaker, I saw my colleague just jumping up. We don't know under which rule. Because if I assume if it's going to be a minority report, it needs to be captured on our record. And the chairperson of the committee should be the one to tell us that it is a minority report. And then invites the colleague with the minority view, invite the minority view to present a report. Without that being done, Madam Speaker, I am asking whether it is procedural right.
I also saw Nancy just jump up, and I was asking, what it was, because at the beginning, what the chairperson ought to have said, that we have the majority report and then the minority report, and after, because all those are your reports, and after that you now invite the presenter of the minority report. But Chair Baroda.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable. That was phase one. And I was going to invite my colleagues, as I stated earlier yesterday.
But you shouted, you were shouting.
Yes. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I have two minority reports. One from Honorable Asinasi and one from Honorable Abed. And I would like to invite Honorable Asinasi to give their areas of dissent as per this. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your wise guidance. I also want to thank the chairperson of the committee.
Honorable members, why are you making noise? What's wrong with
recognizing
Abed?
the minority reports.
Honorable Abed, you need to move near to present your minority. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The Shadow Minister of Agriculture, together with a number of members on this committee, and that is Honorable John Paul Mpalanyi, Honorable Santa Okot, Honorable Stella Isodo, Honorable Kabugo Florence, Honorable Charles Matovu, and Honorable Aol Betty, had dissenting views against the majority report, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we had dissenting views against the minority report on issues of regulatory risks, quality risks assurance, market risk assurance.
Honorable members, listen.
Right Honorable Speaker, we do still note that mainstreaming this very critical and specialized agency, the Uganda Coffee Development Authority, into the parent ministry will compromise and affect the delivery of the technical and regulatory functions this agency has been undertaking since its inception by an Act of Parliament in 1991. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the main objective of this bill is to ensure that UCDA is no more, is abolished. And Right Honorable Speaker and members, the moment that the majority of this House
UCDA is not going to be abolished, but is going to be absorbed in the ministry. I don't want us to misinform people out
right
and play to the gallery.
Right Honorable Speaker, the bill.
Now, what are you shouting about? What are you shouting about?
Right Honorable Speaker, with your wise guidance,
let's use the right words, not playing to the gallery.
The main objective of this bill is to dissolve UCDA into the mother ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, in scrutinizing the bill, the minority views were guided by the following questions as per the objective of rationalization.
And I don't want you to imagine that you own monopoly of shouting.
Right Honorable
Let's
Speaker,
listen to the member.
Right Honorable Speaker, one of the main objective of rationalizing UCDA into the mother ministry was whether the funding of the UCDA is a wasteful expenditure or it causes financial drain to the economy. Right Honorable Speaker, 100% not at all. The funding of UCDA is not a wasteful expenditure. Instead, it greatly outperformed according to its mandate, which was given to it by that Act of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, the minority noted that UCDA is a net save as it contributes heavily to the consolidated fund. And Right Honorable Speaker, we note that in financial year 2023-2024, UCDA brought in Uganda shillings 82.25 billion in form of net R to the consolidated fund. Yet its budget was only 44.76 billion Uganda shillings. UCDA is therefore a net saver. Right Honorable Speaker, this sector employs 12.5 million Ugandans. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the coffee subsector contributed 55.5 to the total agricultural export in the financial year 2023-2024. But it also has so far remitted 44.81 billion to the consolidated fund against the annual target of 83.61 billion, reflecting 54% performance. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, UCD has increased the production of volumes of coffee from 4.03 million 60 bags in financial year 2015-2016
Yes,
to 8.
procedure.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the chair of the committee said all the very good things about UCDA. Everything, production, revenue, everything was very good. She only went wrong at the conclusion. I'm afraid about our children who are doing exams. How you said write talks differently and conclude on the other U-turn. The speaker, isn't it procedure right for us that the pre-current member who is submitting a minority report gives us the point of departure, which is the conclusion, because the rest of the things are actually the same, and we agree.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable.
I know she's about to finish. Let her finish.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your very wise guidance. Right Honorable Speaker, with only 6 years remaining to hit the coffee roadmap target of 20 million bags as per the coffee roadmap by 2030, rationalizing the mandate and dissolving UCDA risks failing the very critical target of achieving the said roadmap. Therefore, UCDA does not drain the treasury, and instead it strongly supports it. Right Honorable Speaker, because of Uganda Coffee Development Authority's efforts, Uganda coffee subsector has been rated number 2nd in Africa and 7th in the whole world. Right Honorable Speaker, the other question was, the issue was whether the mandate overlaps the ministry. The Ministry of Agriculture's mandate. Right Honorable Speaker, the mandate of the two entities totally do not overlap at all. The Right Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Agriculture's mandate is to formulate, review, implement national policies, plan, strategies, regulations, standards, and enforce laws, regulations, and standards along the value chain crops, livestock, and fisheries. While the mandate of UCDA is an autonomous, self-sustaining entity mandated to promote and oversee the coffee value chain by supporting research, promoting production, controlling the quality, and improving the marketing of coffee in order to optimize foreign exchange earnings for the country and payments to the farmers. UCDA's regulatory role, which includes certification of nurseries, inspection and licensing of processors, traders, stores, factories, grading facilities, roasters, and exporters, is still very crucial in maintaining the coffee quality at all levels of the value chain. And as per this role is concerned, Right Honorable Speaker, it's very crucial to note that it is a very crucial role that no any other agents of government, not even the Ministry of Agriculture, has ever performed. Right Honorable Speaker, on the question of whether UCDA, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, has served the purpose for which it was established, yes, 100%. UCDA has performed its mandate effectively and efficiently. Right Honorable Speaker, UCDA has even outperformed, according to the other figures that I've been reading to you, in the whether it drains the economy. Right Honorable Speaker, UCDA's regulatory role, which includes certification and registration of coffee nurseries and farmers, inspection and licensing of processors, traders, stores, factories, grading facilities, roasters and exporters, which is very, very crucial in maintaining coffee quality and quantity at all levels of the value chain and ensuring ready market for the coffee farmers, has been 100% plus outperformed by Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Observation, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues. The minority report noted that Uganda Coffee Development Authority employs a total number of 159 staff, all on contract basis, and out of this, approved structure of 263 staff, with majority of these staff still having more than 3 years remaining on their contracts. Right Honorable Speaker, the certificate of financial implication indicates that 47 staff, that is 29.6%, will be laid off as a result of the amendment at Uganda shillings 3.4 billion cost in terminal benefits. The revised structure by the Ministry of Public Service provides for only 75 staff, leaving 35 staff from Uganda Coffee Development Authority not to be laid off and yet not observed anywhere. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, what will happen if the Right Honorable Speaker, what will be the fate of those staffs after the 3 years, as is in the bill? Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda Coffee Development Authority was allocated 67.99 billion in financial year 2024-2025, and this budget was 44.76 billion in financial year 2023-2024. However, the certificate of financial implication indicates that the net saving as a result of rationalization will amount to Uganda shillings 82.19 billion in financial year 2024-2025. Right Honorable Speaker, then to UGX 85.59 billion in 2025-2026. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this means that the projected savings are even more than the approved budget. Right Honorable Speaker, this can't be, thus renders the certificate of financial implication inaccurate and therefore should be withdrawn and a proper financial implication laid before this Honorable House. Right Honorable Speaker, the certificate of...
Madam Speaker, my procedural issue is on the minority report. When we are looking at this rationalization of agencies, I expected the issues which have been raised, the achievements of the agency when they were performing their duties. My expectation was to hear that whereas we are proposing rationalization, this is how their roles or functions will be affected, and therefore compromising the performance of their roles. For example, if we were to look at the structure, what will be the structure?
Honorable, you've gone into a debate.
No, I'm just raising the procedure issue.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, once again for your very wise
the way
guidance.
you're shouting, you're like just like that woman who slapped.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, once again for your very wise guidance.
Can I have order?
Right Honorable Speaker, the certificate of financial implication is also misleading because the 112 staff who will be transferred to the ministry will continue drawing wages and operation non-wages, which the certificate of financial implication does not put into account. It only considers the terminal benefits for the laid-off staff. Right Honorable Speaker, risks if Uganda Coffee Development Authority is rationalized. Right Honorable Speaker, if Uganda Coffee Development Authority and internationally accredited by the US-based Coffee Quality Institute and was awarded an ISO 17025 certification and Kenya's certification after a thorough analysis of the systems at the UCDA. It is also designated as a center of robust excellency, which coordinates standards, training, grading, and quality improvement in collaboration with the Coffee Quality Institute of the USA. That is the regulatory risk that I'm talking about. Right Honorable Speaker, mainstreaming UCDA will automatically nullify the recognition of UCDA of Uganda as an international center of robust excellence. This will pose a risk to the implementation of protocols with diverse effects on the coffee subsector, such a loss of markets that employs 12.5 million households. And Right Honorable Speaker, certification and accreditation requires a very rigorous process of building systems, personnel, and continuous inspections by the accrediting bodies. And because the markets have become more selective with the introduction of the requirement of traceability, UCDA is a recognized body that can only implement this commitment. Right Honorable Speaker, we should also keep in mind that in all successful coffee producing countries, coffee is regulated under a specialized agency. The agency model has proven to be efficient in coffee producing giants like Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia, among others. And Right Honorable Speaker, I'm almost concluding. Right Honorable Speaker, the Coffee Institute, Vietnam Coffee Coordination Board, Coffee Board of Kenya and Ethiopia, and the Tea Authority, among others, have proved to have succeeded more with the agency model. Worth noting, Right Honorable colleagues, that with the reforms in the coffee subsector in neighboring countries like Kenya, Burundi, and Ethiopia, when they wanted to mainstream coffee after abolishing coffee boards, the quality and quantity declined and caused a loss of forex to these countries. Drawing an example from Kenya, when it merged the Kenya Coffee Board with other 117 crops under the Ministry of Agriculture, by 2021, the President issued an executive order to reintroduce the coffee board after the collapse of coffee production by 70%. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues,
Honorable members, can we listen?
Our second observation is on the market risk. Colleagues, Uganda exports 65% of its coffee to the European Union, which requires the country to comply with the European Union Deforestation Regulation and corporate sustainability due diligence directives. The deadline takes effect on 1st January 2025, and failure to comply with the deadline, a country may lose 65% of its coffee market that is exported to the European Union. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, mainstreaming UCDA is to undermine efforts of profiling, characterizing, and promoting Uganda coffee, which has made it possible to penetrate new markets, including Maghreb states, Asia, Gulf states, China, Korea, USA, and attempts in Russia. Right Honorable Speaker, any disruption to the sustained promotion and marketing of Uganda's coffee brand will reduce the market share in these countries. Since the ministry's efforts to look for new markets for other cash crops like tea, tobacco, vanilla, and others under their direct supervision have registered zero success. Right Honorable Speaker, you all know that we have failed at deteriorating prices of tea. Investors are running away to the neighboring countries, and the cries of maize prices, rice, tobacco, sugarcane, and others, all this under the supervision of the ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, contrary to the justification for rationalization of agencies, Uganda Coffee Development Authority is an autonomous and unduplicated revenue-generating agency capable of sustaining its operations without funding from government, and therefore should totally not be rationalized. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we should also keep in mind that in all successful now I'm in the conclusions, that in all the coffee producing countries, coffee is regulated under specialized agencies. The agency model has proven to be efficient in coffee producing giants, as I've mentioned, the other countries like Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia. And examples of these coffee boards, they have really stood hard on the market of their coffee farmers. So, Right Honorable Speaker, seeing the achievements of all these countries which have been successful with the agency model, Uganda cannot achieve much without applying the agency model, and hence a reason to reject the Uganda Coffee Development Authority rationalization back to the mother ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, the minority report noted that mainstreaming of Uganda Coffee Development Authority will automatically nullify, as I have told you, UCD of Uganda as an international center of robusta experience, excellency, and this will pose a risk to the implementation of the protocols with diverse effect on the coffee subsector, such as the loss of market that employs 12.5 million households. Right Honorable Speaker, certification and accreditation requires a rigorous process. All these without the agency called Uganda Coffee Development Authority, we are likely to lose them. And thus a reason for rejection of the amendment bill of UCDA 2024. Right Honorable Speaker, the coffee quality, quantity, ready market, availability, and technical expertise assurance to the subsector is not guaranteed if Uganda Coffee Development Authority is rationalized. So the minority report notes risks and therefore a reason to reject this rationalization of the UCDA to the main mother ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, the minority report recommends that this Honorable House do reject the rationalization of Uganda Coffee Development Authority as it is going to affect the subsector and the entire economy, but also the 12.5 million Ugandans earning a livelihood, educating their children, and also sustaining themselves at family level from the coffee subsector. Right Honorable Speaker, therefore, it's very evident in the proposed amendment bill, the Uganda Coffee Development Authority 2024 under clause 59(4), clause 4, that there is no assurance of employment continuity for the staff, and therefore it's going to also affect the subsector where those farmers, the 12.5 million people, do earn a livelihood. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, when the Coffee Marketing Board was terminated in favor of Uganda Coffee, I'm finalizing, in favor of the Coffee Development Authority, and finally to Coffee Act of 2021, all these processes, government invested in huge sums of monies, and those who are there can attest that UCDA's achievements is a million reasons to why we also reject rationalization of this entity. Right Honorable Speaker and members, why the rush? Why the rush, Honorable Speaker and colleagues? Why take back a very critical and uniquely expertised outperforming baby back to the mother ministry that is in intensive care unit? Right Honorable Speaker, do we want to kill the coffee sector?
What is in intensive care unit? Honorable members, you don't chorus like you're in a National Theatre. What is in intensive care unit?
Right Honorable Speaker, given the ineffectiveness...
Honorable members.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Listen. This ministry is under you. You do oversight over this ministry. So you left it to be under ICU. No, we need to be, honorable members, we need to be calculative in the words that we use. Huh?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your wise guidance. Right Honorable Speaker.
So in which ICU can I get agriculture?
Right Honorable Speaker, I withdraw the word. Right Honorable Speaker, there is a saying.
Honorable members,
Right Honorable Speaker, I was saying,
Flavia,
do we want to kill the coffee sector
people
as
who
it
put
has
on
been with the
gomas
tea,
are ladies.
the vanilla, tobacco, and others? Right Honorable Speaker, there is a saying that if it is not broken, then do not fix it. If UCDA is not broken, why fix it, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues? We should not insist on killing the institution we have built as Parliament through an act of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, the minority report finally recommends that. Right Honorable Speaker, the minority report therefore notes that the justification for rationalizing Uganda Coffee Development Authority is not reasonable, and the 12.5 million Ugandans earning a livelihood in coffee demand that the bill entitled the Uganda Coffee Development Authority Amendment Bill 2024 should not be passed. It should be rejected by this honorable House. And therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, the minority report strongly rejects personalization of Uganda Coffee Development Authority into the mother ministry. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to report.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Abedi.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I want to remind the honorable members in the House that I was sent here by the people of Chimanya Kabonera, and I must have space. Right Honorable Speaker, UCDA, the main mandate of UCDA is to regulate all on-farm and off-farm activities in the coffee value chain, to promote and oversee the quality, and I want to underline the word, the quality of coffee along the value chain, to support research and development, promote production, and improve the marketing of coffee stakeholders in the country. It should be noted that UCDA's main mandate is regulatory and important to ensure compliance with the export requirements and the international food safety standards. Anything that compromises UCDA will compromise our standards and our markets. UCDA is further mandated with the development and establishment of a traceability system intended, among others, to comply with EU deforestation regulation, which is of recent. There is also a requirement of corporate sustainability and due diligence directives. The traceability system, which is a regulatory tool, is supposed to register all participants in the coffee value chain. And it is UCDA that is mandated with that role. We observe that the current UCDA, that currently it is UCDA that is best positioned in terms of professional knowledge, human resource, systems, and accreditations to handle the mandate of quality assurance. And I want to ask the honorable members to underline the word accreditations. And all regulation requirements necessary for coffee value chain and international trade. Right Honorable Speaker, Allow me to elaborate on the accreditation. It takes 5 to 10 years for any system to be accredited internationally. 5 to 10 years. And accreditation involves pre-accreditation, application, desk review, on-site survey, and accreditation decision. That requires 5 to 10 years. The moment we tamper with UCDA, we are going to lose this accreditation. And it is not true that the minister will get the accreditation the next year. We need 5 to 10 years. Mainstreaming UCDA into MAIF risks compromising quality control and regulation, which will negatively affect coffee trade and markets. This will adversely impact on the coffee export from Uganda and our global competitiveness. We are going to be affected. We don't want to try what the neighbors in Kenya and Ethiopia tried and they failed. They rationalized their boards and they were terribly affected. MAIF, and I'm talking about Minister of Agriculture, in its current form, lacks capabilities, systems, and structures to handle coffee quality regulations and the stringent trade requirements for the markets in the coffee trade. MAIF does not have that capacity now. UCDA is designated as a center of Robusta excellence by the Coffee Quality Institute, which is an international institute, in addition to certification and accreditation of UCDA Coffee Laboratory in Rugogo. These tools are very important for our markets. We note that rationalization of UCDA may lead to loss of certifications and accreditations, thus affecting coffee markets. Right Honorable Speaker, there are best practices. In all countries, my colleagues have already mentioned them, all top countries which export coffee, none of them do so by regulating quality through the main ministry. They use agencies. Recommendations. We recommend that rationalization of UCDA, if done, it should be with a transition period of 5 years to allow Right Honorable, I must be protected.
Honorable members, can we have silence?
Right Honorable Speaker, if rationalization is to be done, my recommendation...
There is a procedural matter from Jonathan.
Madam Speaker, Rule 8.3 is very clear. The behavior of members in the House. Rule 8.3, let us listen to a member. Then when we have dissenting views, we will contribute. Madam Speaker, are we proceeding right as a parliament when a member is talking and we are interfering with the member on the floor?
Honorable members, if you feel you cannot be quiet when somebody is speaking, if you're not tolerant enough, the doors are open. Before I send you out myself.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Don't make me go into that extreme. Listen, everybody is being listened to. Huh?
Right Honorable Speaker, my recommendation is that if there is any rationalization of UCDA, there should be a transition for 5 years. And my justification is that we need...
Baroda, you're not shouting at your co-wife.
Right Honorable Speaker, we need a period of 5 to 10 years to establish the systems and structures that will lead us to get accreditation as a nation. Right Honorable Speaker, I have proposed that in these 5 years, if of transition, the government of Uganda should provide adequate funding to promote coffee in the northern Uganda, including Lango, Acholi, Kalamoja, and West Nile. This area has been waiting for coffee for perennial cash crop for a long time. I've also made a recommendation, Right Honorable Speaker, that in these 5 years, UCDA should be provided additional money for coffee seedlings to the farmers that are required by farmers strategically to help us meet the 20 million bags and meet the target of 2030. Fourthly, government should put in place a fertilizer loan scheme to avail fertilizers to the farmers who need these fertilizers. Right Honorable Speaker, I've also proposed that government should expedite the establishment of the Food and Veterinary Drug Regulatory Agency. And it should be this agency in the future where we put coffee and other food crops that need regulation.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
There's a procedure matter.
Procedure. Honorable Abedi, have a seat.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are discussing the bill, either to rationalize or not. We are not in those nitty-gritties of the advantages of the other side. So we need to know from Honorable Abed whether he's here to tell us to rationalize or not to rationalize, other than diverting us and taking us off the major topic. So through your office, Right Honorable Speaker, is Honorable Abed proceeding in the right direction of misleading the whole team by proposing a creation of other things that are not necessary?
Honorable members, you've heard from Honorable Abedi.
Right Honorable, allow me in a sentence to conclude. Right Honorable Speaker, I represent the people of Masaka. We are a coffee growing area. I want to request the members of Parliament that when a honorable member of Parliament is presenting, we should be calm, we should allow to listen, and I want to remind you, we came here by our own right. Nobody should ever think that I can come on a microphone and you intimidate me.
Honorable
I represent
members,
the people of Masaka.
honorable members, honorable members, Government Chief Whip, honorable members, honorable members, we have two scenarios here. One, there are actually three. One, you don't rationalize. And when you don't rationalize, you don't go into second reading. That's number one. Number two is that you rationalize and go and give it 3 years transition period. And in the 3 years, the minister will be required to bring a statutory instrument after the 3 years. That is the second scenario. The third scenario is a transition period of 5 years. Okay? Are we together? That is, that's where we are. I will, Honorable Boa. Honorable Boa, Medi.
Right Honorable Speaker, from the explanatory memorandum presented for the 14 rationalization bills, the rationalization bills are policy decisions of government, implying under Rule 25 of the Rules of Procedure of this House, they constitute priority of government. Now, therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, with that justification, I beg to move that Rule 204, Sub-Rule 5, I beg to move.
Honorable members.
Sit.
Honorable members.
Sit. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable member.
Hold on.
We are suspending to allow debate. We are going to allow debate. Allow debate. Honorable members, allow him to finish. Stop pointing at him like that. Move the motion.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Nsereko.
If Honorable
Nsereko, you sit.
The Member of Parliament for Kampala Central could listen a little. Rule 204.
And honorable members. Honorable members.
I will sit, but I will come.
Let's have respect for each other. We are saying we want the rules to be suspended to allow you to debate. 204. Please come and see. See.
Hey. No, I'm holding the floor. I am on the floor. No, I can't. You check Rule 205.
Honorable, can you sit? Can you have a seat? Suspend the rule. Suspend the rule.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Suspend the rule, then we allow a debate. We shall allow the debate.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
There's a procedure. There's a procedure.
Right Honorable Speaker.
There's a procedure.
As you know, I am a servant of these rules. And I am afraid where we are heading. When the Honorable Semoju raised on a matter of procedure, Madam, you guided that the Honorable Hamson Obua is also on procedure. Quite skillfully, ingeniously, but also dishonestly, the Honorable Obua did not move on the procedure, but went on motion. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, why I'm even more afraid,
okay,
when you guided that we are going to amend the rules, I got scared. To suspend the rules.
To allow debate.
Yes. I do not know how you knew that the Honorable Bua was moving to suspend. Is it not procedurally right? Is it not procedurally right that you first take the procedural question raised by a member?
You raise a procedural question.
Is it not procedurally right that you allow the member first to move
you
a
raise
procedural
a
issue?
procedural question.
I'm not moving a second procedural issue apart from the one I've moved.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
You know, I knew that it was going on 204 because you taught a brilliant person.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Madam
Yes.
Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, whether you shout, I'm not a social scientist.
Madam Speaker, I have taken.
Honorable members, can you listen to the procedural matter?
Madam Speaker, I have taken oath as an MP here at least 3 times. Each time taking 2 oaths. The first, the oath of Parliament. The procedure issue I am raising, Madam Speaker, relates to no, the rules did not order in vain that when a member is speaking, you listen. They didn't order in vain. So I am waiting for members to keep quiet. I have on 3 occasions taken oath here, one of them being the oath of Parliament. And I think every MP has. We just differ in numbers. That oath assigns me a responsibility to protect the institution of Parliament, because without it I am not there. Madam Speaker, the reports have been read. We took a decision here as an institution of Parliament and said, coffee, no. Wait, you former wealth creation staff. We took a decision here. We took a decision, Madam Speaker. I am waiting for silence to submit. Madam Speaker,
members allow honorable.
Rules don't so allow MPs to just walk like they are in a corral. That they just move around like this. Rules don't allow. Madam Speaker, the oath that I took, especially the one of Parliament, and I want you to rule and address this matter, Madam Speaker. This Parliament passed a budget here, just by a dot, by Mr. Museveni. You came here and changed it. You said Coffee Development Authority must not go, and you took a decision here. I now sympathize with people who will be reading the Hansard of Parliament. They are going to ask simple questions. Was this the same Parliament? Which kind of Parliament is this one? That you take a decision today and tomorrow you come and fall on each other. So the question I am asking, Madam Speaker, the procedural issue. The procedural issue I am raising, not only for your interpretation, but also for protection. Madam Speaker, I am raising this procedural issue, and I will be patient until the MPs who are taking your attention have all left your chair. Madam Speaker, the issue I am asking you to address.
You ladies, why are you fighting for Bala?
Madam Speaker, we have our men this side.
So the procedural issue I am raising broadly and for the integrity of this Parliament, I have listened to all the reports. None of the report is speaking about the fact that a decision was made on this matter. We now congregate here to rescind our own decision the way we did with the budget. I am asking you, Madam Speaker, whether the MPs one by one, not collectively, but one by one, who took one oath of Parliament that they will respect this institution.
What is the procedural matter?
I was laying the preamble. Whether, Madam Speaker, we don't need to first address what is now growing as a habit, that this Parliament can take a decision, they arm twist it, we come running and change it. That's the procedural issue I am raising, whether this Parliament can continue doing what it is doing, that you take a decision, when you are shouted at, you come running and overrun your own decision.
Nobody has been shouted at. We have taken decisions here. The bills are returned and we pass them again. And if this decision was made and it was returned and said we need this bill to be passed, why are we fearing to pass it? It is in our rules. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Semuju is questioning this Parliament that a few months ago, this Parliament moved a motion that UCDA shouldn't be rationalized and that it should stay. The same Parliament today made a decision that NFA, which had been saved by this Parliament, today, the same Parliament said that NFA goes. Does Honorable Semuju have the moral authority to say that this Parliament just changes when he himself has just changed from FDC to a new party which cannot have even 5 members?
Honorable members, Honorable Bua, Honorable Bua. Whom are you ordering now, Haji?
Right Honorable Speaker, for clarity and emphasis,
let Honorable Semuju.
Madam Speaker, I'm moving under Rule 222, which talks about reconsidering the decision of the House. The rule provides that it will be out of order to attempt to reconsider a specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion during the current session. I'm acutely aware during this current session, we came to a conclusion that UCDA should not be rationalized. And it is on record of Hansard. The rule guides how we must move if we intend to reconsider.
If you're buying time, you will sit here up to midnight.
Madam Speaker, I am
There is
entitled
no,
to
you reconsider the
make my
NFA.
procedural.
You reconsider the NFA. Wasn't it passed in this very house?
We proceeded on NFA with full and blatant violation of the rules. I raised an issue here that we cannot. Proceed without amending, without moving that this rule should be suspended, and nobody listened to me.
And we are suspending the rule.
This house, Madam Speaker, we don't need to do double standards here. These rules are written for our guidance, and you are a custodian of the rules.
Honorable Kotogong.
You have not ruled on my matter.
It is because it doesn't deserve a ruling.
It does.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, you had given me to raise a point of order.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
If you
our
allow
rules
me.
are very clear. How a bill is processed.
Is it allowed that a member can talk when another one is on the floor?
I've been the speaker.
Floor, I have a right to speak. My issue must be ruled on.
Honorable Lee, please sit.
To our rules of procedure, there's a clear process of how Parliament processes a bill. A bill is tabled to Parliament, it is referred to the committee, it is debated and passed, and is sent to the President. And the President can agree or disagree with certain provisions. And the bill can be returned. And the President has just returned the bill without comment that there are certain provisions that is not compatible with. And that is what Parliament is discussing. I think this is very clear.
Andrew.
Madam Speaker, I'd reason just to give information to Honorable Court Felix Okotogong, because if you look at Article 91 of the Constitution, the President actually didn't return the bill. The House collapsed that bill. So we started afresh. I just want to give information that was not returned.
Yes, we started the bill afresh. Yes, Kimosho.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Regarding the issue he raised about the session of Parliament, the Constitution of Uganda, the Constitution of Republic of Uganda, Article 97. 97.
About the session. Session is after
Yes,
1 year.
Article 95, Clause 4, a session of Parliament shall be held at least once a year, but the period between one session and the next session, the following session, shall be less than 12 months.
Yes, Ayo. Ayo. Honorable members, can you listen? The section that Honorable Lee raised does not apply in this case. It doesn't.
Right,
Yes,
Honorable
Lee,
Speaker, and,
let's Ayo.
honorable members. I think Honorable Guzile wants to mislead this House. The first bill was presented to this House. We processed it. In some of the bills, we supported government position. In some of them, we rejected as Parliament. It went to President. He declined to assent to it. And that died there. So, government, first listen. Right Honorable Speaker, government again reintroduced the bill that was gazetted in another number and it becomes completely...
Diana, come back.
So
Diana, come back.
When the bill was reintroduced...
Honorable members, I want members in the House.
The bill was regazetted with a different number and it comes back to the House as a new bill. So to say the old bill is the same going by that rule, right, Honorable Speaker, that would be wrong. It's a total new bill that we are processing, and I think we will proceed and process the bill like we have done in other bill. Thank you, right, Honorable Speaker. But that's the reality. The other bill collapsed.
The members imputing that I'm misleading the room, which is wrong. I'm addressing myself to a specific question. I'm not talking about the bill. The question before and for determination of the Speaker is the issue of rationalizing the entity was a question that this House had come to a conclusion.
There's a procedural issue
So,
from Asuman.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank you. I think, Right Honourable Speaker, we are looking shabby. And I want to seek your indulgence as the presiding officer to put us back on trail. There are 3 reports, a majority report and 2 minority reports. This House here is ready to debate the reports. Is ready to debate the reports. That opportunity is not being accorded because in your guidance, there is supposed to be suspension of rules. As we speak now, it seems we are now delving into the debate. Right Honourable Speaker, wouldn't it be properly right to guide us on the way forward in as far as the debate of these reports is concerned?
Honorable members, I have said let Honorable Government Chief Whip move a motion to allow us debate.
Right Honourable Speaker, for clarity, Rule 204, Sub-Rule 5A and B reads as follows. The report of a committee on a bill shall be uploaded on the Parliamentary Information System for the information of members before it is laid on table. And B, and more importantly, only be debated after the expiry of at least 3 days from the day it was laid on table by the chairperson or the deputy chairperson or a member nominated by the committee or by the Speaker. It is upon this spirit that I stated that the justification for moving this motion falls under Rule 25 on the order of business in this House, where priorities are granted to businesses of government, rationalization bills being one of them. I therefore move that Rule 204, Sub-Rule 5B, be suspended to allow debate on the reports, both majority and minority, on this bill. I beg to move.
Those in support of the rules, is the rule seconded? Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Omara, by Rita, Lanyo, by the whole side. Yes, I do.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you very much, and I appreciate the intent of the Government Chief Whip in moving the motion, which is grounded in the rules. But when you read a law, it is required that you read it entirely. No rule stands on its own. Rule 204, sub-rule 5 that has been read must be read with sub-rule 6. And I will read. Sub-rule 6 says, notwithstanding sub-rule 5, debate on the report may, in the discretion of the Speaker, ensue. And A starts with if. If you interrogate legislative drafting, once the word if is put before the sentence, it is conditional. It's a precursor, it's contingent. And it says, if 3 or more days have elapsed since the report of the committee was uploaded on the Parliamentary Information System and a notification of existence of the report sent out to all members by the clerk. I asked the clerk to confirm that there was a notice sent in the prescribed form. And it adds, and these are the details. When there is a semicolon, Madam Speaker, yes, and this one I can refer you to authority. There is an international authority called Justice Crab, who wrote extensively on legal writing and legislative drafting. Once a semicolon is used and the word and, before you go to B, and, it means that the point in B is only in addition to satisfaction of A. And this is what B says. After it has been laid on the table by the chairperson, the chair laid the report today, or the deputy chairperson or a member nominated. Madam Speaker, our role here is to help you adjudicate on matters before us. 3 days in contentious matters in legislation, it is not a matter of do or die, in my opinion. It does not take away anything if we comply by these rules. But, and I have always raised this question here, whether you, Madam Speaker, when you adjudicate here, which side you sit on. If you sit as a neutral arbiter, and that's why you are seated in the middle, you are expected to accord both sides of the house a listening here. Once it comes and it's apparent on the face of it, Madam Speaker, that you are not giving both sides an equal hearing, then it is only proper that I invite you to consider these options. In our Rule 78, it is prohibited for the presiding officer, the Speaker, to take part in debate. But I've seen an innovation that you have had here, where you and the deputy occasionally come and sit in this house. I would therefore advise that once a presiding officer has interest, let the other presiding officer come so that you can interchange. When you want to debate, you go and sit because you're a member of parliament. You're a member of parliament representing
Honorable Dur, we have not even started debating on this report. We've not even started debating on this report. But if you want me to debate, I'll do it.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I am not talking, you see, debate in this house is defined.
Honorable members, we want the report to be debated upon. All you're doing is to block the report from being debated.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Let the reports be debated upon. A motion has been moved.
I actually have no powers to block debate here. You know that. And there are days I've objected to certain things and members, and you have decided otherwise. And it has taken the day. All I am doing is to bring to your attention, as the presiding officer of this house, that when a matter has come, and the rules has expressly stated it, you as the Right Honorable Speaker, you have no powers to throw away the rules and bring in something else. If you want to do that, then every day you need to come and give us a guideline.
So where have we thrown? Why have we thrown the rules?
The rule says you cannot proceed on the debate unless 3 days after tabling has been, and it cannot be suspended. It cannot be suspended. That's my submission.
Can I ask you, Honorable Jonah, is that rule entrenched?
Madam Speaker, if you are reading the rule, and what I'm saying is, you don't read it in isolation. So the fact that there is a provision for suspension of the rules of procedure, it doesn't mean that all the rules are actually available to be suspended. That's the point I'm raising. And I am saying, after 3 days, it doesn't take anything for us. It actually saves the legal challenges that may come over this matter. But if it pleases, like it has always been, that it is easy to violate rules and laws which has put us in this office, then we shall proceed. It is not a personal matter. I'm just raising it so that we do things the right way, correctly, as a National Assembly of this House.
Honorable members, honorable members, the bill was laid on table yesterday. Yes. It was uploaded in the morning. The report was laid on table yesterday. No. Just a minute. If you feel comfortable that the debate should be after 3 days, it doesn't cost much. We shall start with the first thing tomorrow. Don't bring your 14-day notice. That one, don't even forget. Why are courts there? Go. Huh? Yes, there is a procedural matter there.
Madam Speaker, maybe I also seek for your guidance and guidance of the House. When you look at Rule 16, suspension of rules, a member may, with the consent of the Speaker, move that a rule be suspended in its application to a particular motion before the House. And if the motion is carried, the rule in question shall be suspended. When you go to 2, this rule shall not apply in respect to Rule 6, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 1, 16, and 98. All other rules don't apply, can be suspended. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, when you come and you seek to guide the House and you rely on a rule, and you are stating that it is Rule 16 that provides for suspension of the rules, you are relying on the rules, and the rules is extensive. Do you think it makes sense for me to stand here and say I've suspended Rule 16 so that there is no suspension? That's what you are saying. So the rules are not read in isolation. And Madam Speaker, we are going in the right direction. The 3 days is contingent and it doesn't hurt anything. I think it's the correct spirit and everything.
Honorable Boa.
Right Honorable Speaker, in the interest of harmony, but while compliant with Rule 16 read by Honorable Kotogong that indicates which rules are entrenched and those not entrenched, I now beg to move another motion that Rule 204, Sub-Rule 5 and 6 entirely be suspended to allow debate on the report of this bill.
Procedure. Procedure.
Those in favor of that
Procedure,
suspension.
Madam Speaker. No. Procedure.
Is it seconded? Is it seconded? The ayes have it. The debate is open. The debate is Sereko.
Madam Speaker, we are challenging your decision and we are more than 50.
It's okay.
We are challenging your decision.
Just
It's
a second.
okay.
Madam.
It's okay. Honorable Sereko.
Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to bring it to your attention. Over 40 of us have stood to challenge your decision. And it's provided for in the rules that the Speaker's decision is actually challengeable. And there is a modus operandi. It starts by at least 40 members standing up. And from what I see, we are over 40. I would like to suggest that...
Order, Madam Speaker.
Order. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm still concluding this matter. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to suggest that you give audience to these over 40 members that have stood.
Which 40 members?
More than 40 here, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I can mention the names.
Honourable members. Honourable members. But you wanted to debate.
Right Honourable Speaker, you had wanted to know the 40 members. I can mention
Honourable members.
one by name.
Honourable members, listen. Honourable members, I want us to, one thing I can assure you, I am not going to put a question on second reading. That's one thing I can assure you. That is one thing I'm going to assure you. But I am telling you, let's exhaust a debate on this report.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Maybe the person I can give my assurance is him. Let's have a debate, then we come back and conclude the thing tomorrow.
Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker.
Order.
Honourable members. Honourable members. Honourable members. Does it cost you anything to sit down? Our people are not responding. Honourable members, first tell your people to sit before I allow you to talk. No, let them sit. Honourable members. Honourable members. I hope by tomorrow when some of you come, you will not be allowed in. I am saying, let's agree. Let your members sit.
Right, Honorable Speaker, just to give you assurance, these members are not standing up because they are defying you. That's number one. We are standing up in pursuit of the rules, which provide for a modus operandi on how a decision or a ruling of the Speaker can be challenged. So it is not indiscipline
I want to
for
tell
members
you,
to stand.
the members that will have the second reading tomorrow, first thing in the morning.
Actually, that's not the biggest, that's not the issue, right, Honorable Speaker.
Olanya, present your report. Olanya, present your report. Honorable Mr. Kema.
Item 4 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of the report of the Public Accounts Committee, Local Government, on the report of the Auditor General for the financial year 2022-2023 on 37 district local governments, 3 cities, 6 divisions, and 10 municipal councils.
Honorable,
I have a procedural issue. I mean, no longer I've been standing.
you sit back and you bring your procedural issue there. Honorable Lanya, you go back and you bring it from there.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
And one thing I want to remind you, whether you go to heaven in the morning tomorrow, 10, coffee will be here.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the minutes of the committee. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the report of the Committee of Park Local Government. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I am going to read the executive summary. The report is quite big. Because of time, I will deal majorly with the executive summary. This is the report of the Committee on Public Accounts, on audited reports, on 17 district local government, 3 cities, 6 divisions, and 10 municipal council for the financial year ended June 2023. Right Honourable Speaker, in accordance with Article 163, Clause 5A of the Constitution and Rule 182, Clause 5 of our Rules of Procedure, the Committee on Public Accounts, Local Government, considered the report of Auditor General for the financial year 2022-2023 and wishes to report its finding to this House. Right Honourable Speaker, the report covers the key issues in the report, which will be categorized into 2 sections, namely key issues in local government and key audit matters, both general and cross-cutting queries in the local government. This report, which covers 56 local government under Kampala, Gulu, Arua, has been compiled based on the findings of the Auditor General and observations of the committee, mainly to show the state of the local government and to aid policymakers in improving performance of the local government, as highlighted below. Right, Honourable Speaker, we are looking at the key audit issues in local government, general and cross-cutting. We are starting with the budget performance. Right, Honourable Speaker, the committee has considered audit reports of 56 local government for the financial year 2022-2023 that were appropriated public funds, and this includes 30 cities, 37 district local government, 10 municipal councils, and 6 city divisions. Right, Honourable Speaker, total appropriated budget to local government for the financial year 2022-2023. Parliament appropriated a sum of 5,220 billion to all local government in the country, out of which 4,750.2 billion, equivalent to 99% of the approved budget, was warranted to the local government for service delivery. The shortfalls in revenue was 469.8 billion. During the year, based on warrants, for the 56 entities, Right Honourable Speaker, that forms Kampala, Gulu, Arua audit regions, had an approved budget allocation of 2,131.453 billion, equivalent to 41% of the budget allocated to all local governments during the fiscal years under review. During the financial year, a sum of 1,940.37 billion was released to the 56 entities for the implementation of various government programs of the approved 2,131.45 billion. Thus, the entity had a revenue receipt shortfalls of 191 billion, which is equivalent to 9% unrealized funds. Right, Honourable Speaker, further of the availed resources amounting to 1,940 billion, only 1,493 billion was utilized, leading to a balance of 446.8 billion, thus translating into absorption of 77% of the availed resources. Right, Honourable Speaker, we are looking at the local government absorption capacity. The 56 local government reports considered were warranted or released a sum of 1,940.37 billion, equivalent to 41% of the total warrants to all the local government budgeted during the financial year 2022-2023. Out of the resources warranted to the 56 local government, 1,493 billion was expended, representing 77%.
Can you people listen to the chair?
Thank you. Representing 77% of the budget released. To that effect, 446 billion remain unutilized, hence returned to the consolidated fund as a result of failure to absorb the resources. Right, Honourable Speaker, the absorption of funds by the local government was affected by a number of factors, including late release of funds, delays in procurement, delayed accessing of civil servants onto the payroll, change in design of construction works, among the cases cited. Right, Honourable Speaker, notably, the local government with the least absorptive capacities, all those that return huge sum of funds, were Kitgum Municipal Council at 43%, returning 15 billion Uganda shillings. Oyam District Local Government performed at 57%, thus returning 25 billion. Pakwach performing at 58%, returning 14.5 billion. Agago District Local Government observed 60% of the funds, returning 17.6 billion. Lira District Local Government observed Lira District Local Government observed 54% of the funds released to it, returning 17.6 billion. And Arua City observed 74% of the funds released to it, returning 17.6 billion. Right, our Speaker, on the other hand, the local government that observed to nearly target were Gulu District Local Government, posting 100% utilization of all funds released to it. Arua District Local Government, 94%. Mitiana District Local Government observed 96% of the funds released to it. And was Mitiana Municipal Council also performed at 89%. Moyo District Local Government at 87%. Yumbe District Local Government posted 87%. Those are among the best performing local governments. Right, our Speaker, as I stated earlier, we picked the samples. The main reports are in this book. The members will pick interest and look at their district one by one, how they performed in the financial year 2022-2023. Right, our Speaker, committee observation. The committee observed that, one, local government were unable to carry out the planned activities because they did not get all the funds from the approved budget. Two, the unspent balance was attributed to a number of factors, including failure to recruit, delayed deployment of teachers by Ministry of Education, failure to procure contractors under use missed, delayed completion of projects under U-Gift, among others. Three, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in some instances, released funds to the entities over and above what was requested for by the entities. Some entities did not have information about such releases by Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, which found them ill-prepared for the money, and some being swept back to the consolidated fund. And four, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in some cases, released funds late to entities. Several entities informed the committee that funds were received at the end of the last quarter of the financial year, which made absorption of the same almost impossible. Committee recommendation. Right, Honourable Speaker, the committee recommends that, one, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should explain why funds were not released to the local government as budgeted and in a timely manner, as well as those released over and above requests made by the entities. Two, accounting officers under those supervisions, local governments failed to utilize funds released to them without justifiable reasons should be held personally reliable. Three, relevant entities should streamline their budget performance and ensure timely recruitment and placement, procurement timelines, and follow up on timely releases in order to improve funds absorption. Four, accounting officers should follow up with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on the budget shortfalls affecting service delivery. Right, Honourable Speaker, we are looking at the local revenue performance. The 56 local government entities had an approved local revenue budget of 121.39 billion, out of which 86.4 billion was allocated and released back to the local government. Hence, a revenue collection of 71% of the approved budget. A sum of 34.98 billion remain uncollected at the end of the financial year. The warrant releases are based on what the local government collects and is deposited with the consolidated fund as per the requirement of Section 29, Clause 2 of the PFMA 2015. The under-collection undermines service delivery as councils greatly relies on local revenue for support supervision and facilitation of the council sittings. Thus, improvement in its administration is required to improve service delivery. A number of local government under review posted good performance, led by Butambala District Local Government at 278%, Koboko Municipal Council at 232%, Yumbe District Local Government at 131%, Koboko District Local Government at 128%, while least performance was registered by Lera District Local Government that realized only 11% of its approved local revenue budget, Apache Municipal Council at only 23%, Ajumani District Local Government at 35%, and Pakwach District Local Government at 48%, as per the budget performance Annex 1. The accounting officers with a good revenue performance informed the committee that they had been enrolled on IRAS, which has enhanced revenue collection. Right, Honourable Speaker, additionally, accounting officers informed the committee that they had developed revenue enhancement plans and they were optimistic that this would improve their revenue collection. For example, districts such as Wakiso District Local Government and Pakwach District Local Government reported and submitted to the committee their revenue enhancement plan. Committee observation. The committee observed that 1, under collection undermines service delivery as councils greatly rely on local revenue for support, supervision, and council sittings. 2, under collection of local revenue deny the entities resources for implementation of the planned activities. 3, some entities do not have robust revenue collection mechanisms, which explain the low local revenue collections. 4, the entities that perform well set revenue targets that were below their revenue potentials, and this explains the overperformance. The committee recommendations. The committee recommends that 1, the accounting officers should strengthen local revenue collection efforts to ensure availability of adequate funds for service delivery, for instance, by conducting inland benchmarks with the best performing local governments. 2, the accounting officers should conduct revenue enumerations and assessment exercises to inform revenue planning and enforcement. 3, the accounting officers should put in place revenue enhancement plans to increase local revenue to match the entity's revenue potentials. 4, owing to the positive feedback regarding IRAS, government should consider rolling out the system to all entities that have not started using the system. 5, accounting officers should strengthen capacity building for parish chiefs and town clerks charged with the duty of revenue collections. Right Honourable Speaker, we are looking at the performance of government warrants. The Auditor General noted that most entities received less than what they budgeted for, thereby affecting service delivery. For instance, Lera City budgeted to receive 600 billion, 46 million, 36,451, out of which 47 billion, 554, 468.848 was warranted, resulting in a shortfall of 20 billion, 491, 840,032, representing 70% performance. Nebi District Local Government budgeted to receive 46.692 billion, 271,928, out of which 41 billion, 427 million, 847,639 was warranted, resulting in a shortfall of 5.264 billion, representing 89% performance. Boikwe District Local Government budgeted to receive 53.915 billion, out of which 35.836 billion was warranted, resulting in a shortfall of 18 billion 793 million, representing 66% performance. The auditor, however, noted that realization of budget funds to finance work plans is always impacted by the limited resource envelopes, resulting from the persistent budget cuts. The accounting officers explained that they had no control over warrants and cash limits, but continuously engaged the Minister of Finance to provide funds for the affected activities. Additionally, Right Honourable Speaker, accounting officers from some entities informed the committee that they received funds over and above what they had requested for, which they could not observe. For instance, the accounting officer of Butambala District Local Government informed the committee that whereas the entity requested for 1 billion 122 million 22,625 for wage, 5 billion 560 million 783 170 was released to the district, as per the auditor's analysis, hence resulting into some funds not observed. Similarly, Kitgum District Local Government received a supplementary funding of 2 billion 855 million 427 080, which was not requested for by the accounting officer, and out of it 1 billion 914 million 99,546 was not utilized by the entity. Committee observation. Right Honourable Speaker, the committee observed that 1. Local government were unable to carry out the planned activities because they did not get all the funds from the approved budget. 2. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in some instances, released funds to entities over and above what was requested for by the entities. 3. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in some cases, released funds late to entities. Several entities informed the committee that funds were received at the end of the last quarter of the financial year, which made absorption of the same impossible. Committee recommendation. The committee recommended, Right Honourable Speaker, 1. An investigation should be carried out on why Ministry of Finance releases funds over and above what has been requested by the entities. 2, accounting officers should follow up with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on the shortfalls affecting service delivery. Right on, Speaker, we look at unutilization of warrants. The Auditor General noted that there was underutilization of warrants which affected performance as planned activities were either partially implemented or not implemented at all. The accounting officers explained that much of the unabsorbed funds were meant for planned recruitments, which did not materialize due to a ban on recruitment that was issued by government, while others did not have functional district service commissions. For instance, Mukono District Local Government. They also explained that there was also delayed procurement process due to the hybrid procurement process, which the entities had no control over, as it was handled by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, MAIF. MAIF delayed to provide the pre-qualified list of service providers. The accounting officers also attributed the underutilization of funds to delayed release of funds by Ministry of Finance, as most funds were released in the last month of the financial year. Accounting officers from some entities informed the committee that they received funds over and above what they had requested for, which they could not observe. For instance, the accounting officer of Butambala District Local Government, as I read earlier, and all those. Committee observations. Right, Honourable Speaker, the committee observed that, 1, whereas Ministry of Finance did not release all the funds budgeted for, most entities did not utilize the warrants, which greatly affected the implementation of planned activities. 2, the unspent balances were attributed to a number of factors, including failure to recruit due to the ban on recruitment, delayed deployment of secondary school teachers by Ministry of Education, failure to procure contractor under USMIST, delayed completions of project under UGIFT, among others. 3, the hybrid methods of procurement in management of projects in the local government has caused a lot of implementation challenges, which include delayed procurement process, difficulty in supervision, poor quality of work, and conflict of interest, both at the central and local government. 4, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in some instances, released funds to entities over and above what was requested for by the entities. 5, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in some cases, released funds late to entities. Several entities informed the committee that funds were received at the end of the last quarter of the financial year, which made absorption of the same impossible. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that, 1, the Ministry of Finance should ensure timely release of funds to all service delivery. Ministry of Finance should release funds as requested for by entities to avoid over and above releases. MAIF should stop the hybrid methods of contracting to allow local government to procure contractors in the micro-scale irrigation program. Accounting officers should ensure that contractors adhere to the contractual timelines. Accounting officers should not relent in engaging the permanent secretary or secretary to the treasury to ensure that funds are reverted so as to implement the affected activities. We are looking at lack of appropriate performance indicators and targets in the work plan. Right on, Speaker, the Auditor General noted that most of the entities lack appropriate performance indicators and target in work plans, which was contrary to Regulation 11, Clause 2B of the Public Finance Management Regulations 2016, which provides that the work plan of a vote shall indicate the key performance indicators to be used to gauge the output. The accounting officers attributed this to challenges in the program budgeting system, whereby drop-downs provided to select performance indicators in the system are limited and do not relate to local government. And the system also does not allow adjustment in the codes to suit those applications to entities. Committee observation. The committee observed that without clear performance indicators and targets, it is hard to ascertain the level of achievement of output stock activities, and this is likely to result in inaccurate performance information from the entities. 2, the program implementation action plans in the National Development Plan are not synchronized with the program-based system, as certain programs within the system lack corresponding performance indicators. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the National Planning Authority should fast-track the review of the program to come up with appropriate performance indicators that are aligned to local governments. The program implementation action plan in the National Development Plan should be synchronized with the program-based system, as certain programs within the system lack corresponding performance indicators. 3, capacity building for the users of PBS should be planned for and fast-tracked by NPA. Madam Speaker, we also look at the implementation of outputs. The Auditor General noted that number of outputs and activities were either partially implemented or not implemented at all. The accounting officers explained that some were due to budget cuts, while others were due to delays in the procurement process. Committee observation. Committee observed that partial or non-implementation of planned activities implies that the expected services to the beneficiaries' communities were not attained. 2, there was inadequate monitoring and supervision during the implementation of activities. Recommendations. Committee recommends that 1, ensure continuous monitoring and supervision of contractors to realize full implementation of activities. 2, engage with the relevant authorities to always adequately plan and fast-track procurement to ensure that activities are implemented in a timely manner. Honorable Speaker, we also look at the management of the government salary payroll. During the year under review, the Auditor General carried out a special audit of all salary payrolls across all local government entities to establish the root causes of identified challenges in the management of government salary payroll and propose remedial measures accordingly. The audit covered the last 4 financial year, 2019, 2020 to 2020, 2023, and made the following findings. Utilization of wage budget. The total wage bill appropriated for all local government amounting to 2,855 billion during the fiscal year under review. The wage bill approved for the 57 entities under review amounting to 1,083 billion, of which 1,001 billion was utilized, representing a performance of 92%. This has an overall impact on service delivery as it demonstrates the lack of personnel or failure to attract and retain manpower to support service delivery. The Auditor General noted that most of the entities did not utilize their wage budget, and this affected service delivery. Accounting officers explained to the committee that unobserved funds were mainly meant for payment of staff salaries, but due to ban on recruitment of staff, they could not pay salary as no recruitment was done. Some accounting officers blame non-recruitment on lack of functioning district service commissions and delayed access of staff to the payroll. Committee observation. 1. The ban on recruitment of staff greatly affects service delivery since the entities did not recruit the required staff. 2. The delayed access of staff on the payroll greatly demotivates staff because of delayed remuneration. Committee recommendation. Committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that they have functioning district service commission in place so as to streamline the recruitment of staff to vacant positions. 2. Accounting officers should improve on the accuracy of entities' budgets by ensuring that all budget estimates are based on actual numbers. 3. The accounting officers should in future adhere to Section B to A, Clause 11 of Uganda Public Service Standing Order, which requires accounting officers to ensure that public officers access the payroll within 4 weeks from the date of assumption of duty. Right on, Speaker, we also look at the validation of employees on the entity's payroll. The audit report on validation of staff on government payroll for audit regions covered revealed that 35,408 personnel or staff were verified out of 43,427 who were on the payroll, and the difference of 7,992 staff were not present. The exercise identified 7,777 ghost staff on the payroll of 56 entities reviewed. The Auditor General noted that whereas most of the staff in the entities were verified, some were verified, some were not verified due to A, lack of minute extracts from other service commissions to support their first appointment. B, staff on study leave abroad.
Procedure.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I thank the Chair for the report. Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, the report is well captured, going to 400 plus pages. And Madam Speaker, wouldn't it be procedural right for the record to capture this very good report? We go and get time and read it. Also aware that tomorrow we are here at 10 and we started today again early. So my procedural point is, would it be procedural right for the record to capture? Then we are given enough time to go and digest the report.
The report was captured, I think, 2 weeks back. It has been on the order paper every day. It has been on the order paper. And he's only reading an executive summary.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, as I stated earlier, our report is quite big, but we are reading the executive summary. Maybe I will, Right Honourable Speaker, I will concentrate on the observation and the recommendations. Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, on the validation of employee, on the entity's payroll, the committee observed that staff who did not turn up for verification and those who were not accounted for by the accounting officers had been getting salary for unknown periods of time, which caused a financial loss to government. 2, there was negligence by human resource officers to carry out review of the payroll before payments were effected. 3, a total of 4,497,807,340 was paid to 777 staff who were unaccounted for on the payroll, thus causing financial loss to government. Committee recommendation. 1, there should be regular review of the entity's payrolls so as to promptly remove employees who are not verified to avoid continuous financial loss to government. 2, the responsible accounting officers who made payments to ghost workers should be held liable to recover the funds lost by the government. 3, entities should always liaise with the relevant stakeholders to ensure prompt updates of the payroll going forward so as new staff can access the payroll. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also look at inconsistencies in the employees' detail. Under that, the committee observed that 1, inconsistent information undermines the integrity of the entity's records and may complicate the employee's service history and retirement procurement. 2, where the errors in dates of birth increase the length of service, it may lead to the irregular extensions of employees' service. 3, the request for change of dates of birth are always submitted when employees are approaching the time of attainment of the mandatory retirement age, which creates doubt of intent of the officers. Committee recommendation. Committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that employees' records are duly updated and brought to the attention of the Ministry of Public Service. 2, accounting officers should continue to sensitize the employees on Section L to B, Clause 7 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders, which provides that the date of birth of a public officer shall be that which was initially recorded, unless unquestionable evidence to the contrary is provided and accepted by the responsible permanent secretary. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also look at delayed deletion of employees from the payroll. The committee observed that the delayed deletion of staff from the entities active salary payroll was a violation of Section B-A, Clause 12 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders 2021, which states that payment of salary to public officers be stopped immediately they cease rendering services to government under whatever circumstances, including death. Recommendation. Going forward, the accounting officers should ensure the management of accurate staff salary payroll in line with Section B, Clause 12 of the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders 2021. 2, the accounting officers should recover the said money from the beneficiaries within 6 months from the time of adoption of this report. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also look at the review of the staff establishments. On this, the committee observed that Most entities did not have approved and costed staff establishments for primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, while the staff structures for health facilities issued by Ministry of Health was not incorporated into the district approved structure. Most entities still have staffing gaps, which has affected service delivery. Recommendation: the committee recommends that the accounting officers should engage the relevant ministries about the ban on recruitment to address the vacant positions. 2. Accounting officers should engage the relevant stakeholders and authorities to develop and implement costed staff structures for the entities. We also look at the implementation of key government grants, program. The focus areas. Right, Honourable Speaker, the committee observed that the entities failed to adhere to the stipulated guidelines while allocating the funds. 2. Failure to maintain an up-to-date asset register of education facilities and their conditions led to inconsistencies in selection of schools to benefit from the infrastructural development work affected by quality of education of pupils in schools that were not selected but are disadvantaged. 2. Failure to screen projects for the likely environmental and social impact may result into environment deterioration in case mitigation measures are not identified and implemented. Committee recommendation. Committee recommends that accounting officers should adhere to Section 6.231 of the Planning, Budgeting, and Implementation Guidelines for Local Government for the Education and Sports Sector 2021, while planning for projects under the Education Development Grant. Accounting officers should ensure that an up-to-date asset register of education facilities and their condition is maintained and used in selection of schools to benefit from the grant. Right now, Speaker, we also look at funding and absorption of education development grant. Under this, the committee observed that delayed release of funds by Ministry of Finance greatly affected the absorption of funds in the entities. The committee recommends that Ministry of Finance should ensure timely release of funds, and the accounting officers should roll over the unimplemented activities to the financial year 2023-2024 and follow up with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that the funds are reverted. 2. Retention should be paid when contractors have rectified all defects if identified. We also look at inspection for service delivery and education development. Under this, the committee observed that there was laxity by accounting officers in monitoring and supervision of contractors to ensure effective implementation and completion of projects. 2. Delayed release of funds by Ministry of Finance greatly affected the absorption of the funds by entities. Committee recommendation. Committee recommends that Ministry of Finance should ensure timely release of funds. 2. The accounting officers should ensure that the defects are rectified before retention payments are made. 3. Accounting officers should carry out frequent monitoring and supervision of projects to ensure effective implementation and completion of projects as planned and their effective utilization. 4. The accounting officers should liaise with the relevant stakeholders and ensure timely commissioning of projects to deliver services. We also look at the micro-scale irrigation. Right on, Speaker, the committee looked at the micro-scale irrigation, whereby out of the 135 participating districts, the audit sampled 100 districts, which is 74%, which received 79.81 billion, or 97%, out of 81.830 billion budgeted to support 2,750 farmers to purchase irrigation equipment and set up 194 irrigation demonstration sites for roll-out phase. Although the project had areas where management had commendable performance, such as full utilization of micro-scale irrigation funds on eligible activities in 100 sample districts, and installed demonstration irrigations equipment in 55 districts, there were areas for improvement, and these included plan and budget performance. Under plan and budget performance, the committee observed that under absorptions of released funds led to partial or non-implementation of planned activities. 2, the project is a costly project that only benefits farmers that can afford co-funding, as it is not all-inclusive. Recommendation: the Ministry of Agriculture, or MAIF, should reduce co-funding charges for farmers from current 25% at least to 5%, because most farmers cannot afford the current charges, and thus leading to low absorption of funds. 2, the committee recommends that this program should be tailored towards promoting inclusivity with the aim of enhancing the capacity of farmers. Madam Speaker, we also look at the implementation of micro-scale irrigation program, where the committee observed that poor implementation of the program may result into failure to support smallholders farmers to transition from subsistence to commercial agriculture. Recommendation: the committee recommends that accounting officers should initiate measures to ensure timely procurement and engage MAIF to expand the list of pre-qualified suppliers from potential suppliers to increase the number of eligible suppliers to improve on efficiency. MAIF should stop the hybrid method of contracting to allow local government to procure a contractor in the micro-scale irrigation program. We also look at the utilization of discretionary development equalization grant, that is DDGE, and use-missed grant. We look at funding absorption. Under funding absorption, Madam Speaker, the committee observed that the accounting officers made a regular budget allocation which affected the effective utilization of the grant funds. Recommendation: the committee recommends that Ministry of Planning, Ministry of Finance should ensure timely release of all budgeted funds to municipal council to facilitate implementation of planned activities. Accounting officers should ensure that funds are remitted in accordance with the guidelines. Ministry of Land and Urban Development should ensure that in future procurement is done and contractual designs are planned early to avoid delays. Finally, the accounting officers should ensure timely and effective implementation of the project. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also look at the development response to displacement impact project. And also we look at funding and absorptions under this program, where the committee observed that there were delays in the disbursements of funds, and this affected the implementation timelines of the project. 2, a number of entities experienced budget cuts, hence the failure to effectively implement the projects as planned. 3, the targeted local government did not achieve the intended results due to delayed release of funds, thus the failure to implement the project. Recommendation: the committee recommends that the OPM should ensure that approved sub-projects are funded timely. 2, the accounting officers and OPM should follow up on all projects balances on commercial banks and ensure that the funds are not misused. 3, the accounting officers should engage OPM regarding the utilization of sub-project savings and interest earned. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also look at implementation of project activities. Under this, the committee observed that the targeted local government did not achieve the intended results due to delayed release of funds, thus the failure to implement the project. 2, implementation of project by IPS was delayed by investigations by IGG, whereby IPS were suspended. 3, lack of environment and social management plans by respective entities hinders the implementation of corrective action against negative environmental and social effects of sub-project. Committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that monitoring and supervision of projects is strengthened to realize the intended results. 2, prioritize the implementation of all partially implemented and ongoing sub-projects in the infrastructure, environment, and livelihood sub-components. Ensure that the DRDIP district coordinator monitors and guarantees that physical progress and financial reports are prepared by CPMC and accountabilities are uploaded into the DRDIP MIS. 4, ensure that sub-project focal persons are trained on the use of the DRDIP MIS, engage OPM regarding future funding of ongoing sub-projects. Right, Honourable Speaker, we also look at inspection of service delivery project implemented in the financial year 2022-2023. Under this, the committee observed that the districts affected by this project had not obtained value for money, given that the projects had defects ranging from cracks on walls and uncleared water channels under bridges. 2, the environmental and social management plans was yet to be implemented, and these had negatively impacted the completion of the project. Recommendation: the committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that all defects on ESMP work are corrected, completed prior to the commissioning of all the projects. 2, projects that are behind schedule should be expedited. Right, Honourable Speaker, the committee also look at transitional road rehabilitation grant. Under this, we look at fundings and absorption under roads, where committee observed that delayed release of budgeted for funds leads to funds being swept, and this affects the timely execution of services to the detriment of the intended beneficiaries in the concerned project areas. Recommendation: Committee recommends that Ministry of Finance should at all times endeavor to ensure timely release of funds to participating entities to enable them to implement planned projects. We also look at review of implementation of grants activities. Under this right honourable Speaker, the committee observed that the failure of entities to test materials before construction of the approved roadworks affects the quality of the works being implemented and may lead to loss of government funds. Recommendation: the accounting officers should always adhere to the grants guidelines or seek authorization for any deviation. We also look at inspection of service delivery, indicators of transitional road rehabilitation and grant, where we observed that due to shoddy works done, roads were already being affected by the water runoffs, thus depriving beneficiaries value for money. 2, inadequate funding of road projects leads to delayed execution of the planned activities. Recommendation: Committee recommends that the accounting officers should ensure that the identified shortcomings are addressed. 2, government through the Ministry of Finance and the relevant authorities should consider increasing funds for the transitional road rehabilitation grant. Right Honourable Speaker, we also look at implementation of Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfers, that is UGIFT program, funding and absorption. The committee observed that delayed implementation of the project greatly Thank you. Right Honourable Speaker, committee observed that delayed implementation of the projects greatly compromised service delivery in the affected districts. The under-absorption of the project's funds led to failure in the implementation of the projects, and this was a result of the hybrid procurement process. 3, as a result of the delayed release of the project funds, the entities did not meet their set targets under the key procurement indicators. Recommendation: Committee recommends that Ministry of Finance should ensure that funds are timely released as budgeted. 2, the 2-line ministries of Education and Health should stop the hybrid method of procurement and allow the local governments through their procurement department to procure contractors with capacity to undertake the projects under the program. 3, the number of projects per contractor must be limited so as to enhance their performance. 4, the accounting officers should ensure close supervision and monitoring of the UGIFT project by the technical staff with timely reporting on the progress. Right Honourable Speaker, we also look at UGIFT infrastructure project implemented on untitled land. The committee observed that it was extremely risky for the entities to start a government project on land whose ownership status had not been ascertained. This could lead to financial loss on the part of the local government. Recommendation: the committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that the land ownership matter is expeditiously resolved in order to safeguard taxpayers' money and ensure value for money. 2, register the agreements to make them legal and binding. 3, continue engaging Ministry of Education and Sports and Ministry of Health to ensure that faith-based and traditional institutions allow the processing of the land titles. 4. Adequate plan for titling of land and engage means of finance for release of funds. We also look at inspection of U-gift activities. Right on Speaker, we also look at implementation of Uganda Road Fund. Under Uganda Road Fund, we look at the funding. Thank you. Right on Speaker, under Road Fund, we look at the funding. The committee observed that the underfunding and budget cuts from the Uganda Road Fund affects routine and periodic maintenance of public roads. Recommendation: the committee recommends that Uganda Road Fund should ensure that the local government's road maintenance work plans are adequately funded. We also look at status of implementation of road activities. Under this right on Speaker, the committee observed that the underfunding and budget cuts from the Uganda Road Fund affects routine and periodic road maintenance. Committee recommends that Uganda Road Fund should ensure that the local government road maintenance work plans are adequately funded. That was repeated. Right on Speaker, we also look at Uganda support to municipal infrastructure development, additional funding, that is use missed. Under use missed, the committee observed that non-adherence to the planning and budgeting guidelines affects the proper implementation of the local government work plans and budget. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Land, Housing and Urban Development should provide IPFs with specific and quantified activities to be captured in the local government budget and work plans. In addition, the ministry should ensure timely approval of project designs. We look at funding absorptions. Under that, where a committee observed that budget shortfalls and failure to absorb funds affected service delivery. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Land, Housing and Urban Development should ensure timely approval of designs so as forestall late commencement of the procurement processes. Right on Speaker, committee also look at implementation of program activities, inspection for service delivery project implemented 2022-2023. With that, members can read. We also look at the utilizations of wage budget. There also members can read. It is on the system. The committee, right on Speaker, the committee also look at budgeting. Members can also read. Right on Speaker, the review of the implementation of grants activities. Members can also read. We move to implementation of the Paris Development Model, that is PDM. Under PDM, in the financial year 2022-2023, Parliament appropriated 1.142 trillion for the PDM program, of which 1,059 trillion was for the Paris revolving fund to finance 10,594 PDM circles in 176 local government. Each circle was supposed to receive 100 million in the financial year to develop and implement viable community-led income-generating enterprises. In addition, a sum of 82.65 billion was released to specific entities. The Auditor General, in his report, noted the following positives regarding the PDM. A, most of SACCOs receive funds as budgeted by Ministry of of Finance. B, only SACCOs that met the minimum requirements for operations were funded. C, most of the SACCOs were registered under Cooperative Society Act to ensure the legality of the organization. D, most of the SACCOs are the PDM member register or updated PDM memberships. This ensures that no PRF loans were extended to ineligible beneficiaries. None of the beneficiaries received PRF funds multiple times. F, for most of the PDM SACCO, the SACCO bank account numbers provided were captured in the signed PRF financing agreement as guided by budget execution circular for the financial year 2022-2023. Right on, Speaker, under PDM, those are the observations from our auditor. And we also look at failure to alignment of the district budget to the PDM. Under this right on, Speaker, the committee observed that failure to incorporate priorities from the sub-counties may hinder the achievement of the PDM objective of improving the incomes and welfare of all Ugandans at the household level, and contravenes paragraph 1.7 of the Users Handbook for the Parish Development Fund under PDM Pillar 3, Financial Inclusive. Members can read that. The committee was optimistic that with the requirements that all lower local government should annually submit unfunded priorities for incorporations into the entity's budget in place, the entities would have a better understanding of the priority areas. Committee recommendations. Committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that priorities from sub-counties and town councils are identified and incorporated in their budget and work plans to enable alignment of PDM activities for proper implementations. Right on, Speaker, we also look at delayed release of funds on PDM SACCO. Under this, the committee observed that the delayed disbursement of funds to SACCO beneficiaries affects the intended timely transformations of the subsistence households into the money economy. Recommendation. The committee recommends that accounting officers should liaise with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that funds are released to SACCOs in a timely manner as planned. We also look at disbursement of parish revolving fund. Under this, the committee observed that the low rate of disbursement of parish revolving funds undermine the achievement of the pillar's objective of eradicating poverty. Furthermore, there is a likely loss of funds due to the unaccounted for funds. Committee recommends that accounting officers to liaise with relevant authorities to address the system network challenges to ensure timely disbursement of funds. Right on, Speaker, the committee also recommends that accounting officers should ensure strict adherence to the paragraph of the Users Handbook for the Parish Revolving Fund under PDM Pillar 3, Financial Inclusion October 2022, which stipulates that the money for each parish under the PRF should be disbursed directly from the consolidated fund that is at the Bank of Uganda to the PDM SACCO Bank account solely for on lending to subsistence households in the parish who are members of the registered PDM enterprise group in that parish. Right up, Speaker, we also look at review of the PDM government structure. Members can read that. Right on, Speaker, the committee also look at training of household and enterprise groups, that is still under PDM, members can also read that. Right on, Speaker, we also look at wealth ranking of the household. Under this, the committee observed that failure to identify subsistence households using wealth ranking tool and select and implement prioritized projects may undermine the achievement of pillars objectives. Recommendations. The committee recommends that accounting officers should ensure that wealth ranking is done to ensure that the targeted beneficiaries benefit from PDM to improve their livelihood. Right on, Speaker, as I stated earlier, the report is quite lengthy. This is the executive summary I presented. At this time, I would like to thank the Committee of PAC Local Government and my clerk and all the participants for this very hectic and tiresome work. Right on, Speaker, I beg to report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairman, and thank you for the report. Yes, Dr. Chut.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for that very elaborate and comprehensive report. Looking at the report, you notice a number of recommendations. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to draw the attention to the Treasury Memorandum for the previous financial year. When you look at the actions that were presented, most of the actions do not cover all the recommendations. You find 10 recommendations and only 3 actions. And I see that some of the recommendations are now re-emerging again. So I really want to propose that this time the Treasury Memorandum should respond to each of the recommendations. There must be an action item for every recommendation that has been mentioned in this report so that we do not have recurring issues on it. Secondly, on the issue of recruitment, and I will want the Minister of Finance to clarify, we've noted that in this financial year, wage that was for primary education recruitment has been reallocated to tertiary education. If you look at College District, for example, there were supposed to be 57 primary school teachers who retired who were supposed to be replaced. But that wage has been transferred to tertiary education. And the reason that was given is to address the concerns on increase of wage for the science teachers. We are trying to solve a problem of wage up, but we are denying wage at the lower end itself. Thank you.
Honorable Lee.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the Chair.
Is Atima Lee.
Thank you very much for that information. My name is Atima Jackson Lee Buti. I represent the people of Arua Central Division. Thank you very much, Chair, for the good report. Right Honorable Speaker, my concern on this report is about money returned to the Treasury. Arua City was mentioned to have being returned over 17.6 billion. It's a very big concern. We have service delivery gaps in the city. Very many things are undone, yet we return 17.6 billion. And this is attributed to late releases by Minister of Finance. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would really want to implore Minister of Finance to take note that monies should be released to these local governments on time so that these monies don't get returned to the Treasury. Thank you very much.
Yes. Honorable Polot.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I appreciate the Chair for the report. Madam Speaker, the observations made in this report are not far from what we had last time. And I want to agree with the Honorable Achuti that the Treasury Memorandum should be able to update us so that we don't keep repeating. However, I want to look at the aspect of Minister of Finance releasing
Honorable
money
Minister,
beyond.
Honorable Minister, we need to have a treasury memoranda for the last financial year so that we see what is being repeated. Because you'll find every year things are being repeated.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I want to observe the aspect of Minister of Finance releasing money over and above what is requested. Let them explain to us what causes this. Madam Speaker, it is a common practice. You find that districts are not able to finish the money because it was not in their work plans. And this is what is making a lot of money to be sent back to the consolidated fund. And yet we need this money for use. Madam Speaker, we also want to have an update on the enrollment of the local governments into the IRAS system. Because the observation is that the IRAS is helping government generate more local revenue. And this is what comes to our treasury. And last time the recommendation was that we would have these local governments enrolled in a phased manner. What is the update as per now? How many local governments have been enrolled? And what is the improvement in terms of the local revenue performance? So that we are able to discuss it further in the next engagement. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okay. Okay, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the report, but also to note that I have raised this before, and I want to request, Right Honourable Speaker, that let this be clear. If you are indicting an accounting officer, or even wanting to hold an accounting officer accountable, please mention the name, so that those who read in future, who read these reports, can actually know who it is that you're actually referring to. Because in your executive summary, you have lumped up.
That's what we agreed in the last, accounting officer ABCD erred in this and should be held accountable.
Yeah, because you find that, for example, those who paid employees that had not been verified, I think you mentioned over 400 of them, but you say the accounting officers should be held accountable. Which ones? So, for clarity, let's have...
And if you don't clarify, you'll find we'll be taking those accounting officers from one station to the other. So you'll be taking advice from one district to the other.
Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, it's very unfortunate that we see this happening. I thought it was only in central government where we discovered that the Ministry of Finance releases funds over and above what the entities have actually budgeted. And you wonder what the motive is here, Right Honourable Speaker. Certain entities don't have funds. We don't have money under, for example, the road fund, Right Honourable Speaker. And I hope you can allow me raise this tomorrow, because I don't see the Minister of Finance here. He's around. We have a big challenge, Right Honourable Speaker. For example, for last quarter and this quarter, 20 million shillings is what has been released to districts under the road fund. What can a district do with 20 million? When I raised the motion on the inadequate releases by the government to the Uganda Road Fund, Right Honourable Speaker, we debated this motion. With your guidance, government was able to increase the release to the districts by 1 billion. And we thought the 1 billion would be an additional. Now what they have done is to remove what they were actually giving the districts, and they have left the districts empty now with only the 1 billion.
And the 1 billion is going to the district?
Yes, it is 1 billion, but previously, for example, Tororo district.
Sarah, what I'm asking, is the 1 billion still going to the districts?
Yes.
And if it is still going to the districts and they are not funding in the road fund, that's why they are rationing it.
But Right Honourable Speaker, we shall get into a problem. We have not solved the problem. I hope I can substantively raise this tomorrow. But Right Honourable Speaker, the other issue, I remember I raised this matter, the Minister of Public Service. When we visited the districts, several districts, we found a cry by the districts. They had wage, but there was a ban on recruitment. And then the minister, and that was the other financial year, The minister actually said that they were actually going to lift the ban.
Thank you.
Now, this financial year, we are seeing that the ban is still on. So, Right Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate. We are starving entities of funds and yet at the same time releasing funds that districts cannot utilize.
Thank you.
So, I
Yes,
hope this can be
Nakasongola.
corrected. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Nakasongola.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the chairperson of the committee. Right Honourable Speaker, I was a member of this committee for quite a number of years, and I know what they go through to produce those reports. But there's something which has been persistent. Madam Speaker, the issue of late release of funds, I want to speak on it in two aspects. One is about the locally collected revenue by local governments. Madam Speaker, this money is collected by poor local governments, and this is the money which they would have expected to be utilizing or spending at source. Madam Speaker, Minister of Finance subjected the local governments to remit this money to Minister of Finance. And this Parliament sat here and passed a resolution, Madam Speaker, that this money should be left with local governments for their utilization. Up to today, Minister of Finance refuted it, never responded to it, and they defied it. The good thing, my friend Honorable Gorobi, the Minister of Finance, is here. We want him to tell us why this money doesn't remain with local governments to be utilized. Secondly, on the same issue, Madam Speaker, the late release of funds, I am the chairperson of the District Roads Committee of Nakasongola District Government. We have a work plan we implement per financial year. If you release money 1 month to the end of the financial year, and I'm supposed to work on 4 roads, how do you expect me to implement and work on those roads within 1 month or within 20 days, and I have 1 machine? How do you expect me to operate? At the end of the day, the money is reverted back or taken back to the National Treasury, then you have issues. Lastly, Madam Speaker, is about PDM. PDM, Minister of Finance released to some parishes 70 millions, others 20. I have an example in my constituency. There's a parish called the Kamira Mpango, which has missed 75 millions. Up to today, that money has never been received, and people think that members of Parliament, when they come here, we don't talk about it. But my sister, Honorable Zawede, the woman member of Parliament, presented it, but up to today, that money has never been received by that parish. The good thing, the Minister of Local Government is here, the Minister of Finance is here. I thank you.
Thank you very much, the Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And at the same time, I want to thank the chairperson for giving us a very elaborate report. The Right Honorable Speaker, I want to bring our attention to UGIFT or UGIFT projects in this country. I come from a district whereby NEBI is one of the beneficiaries of these UGIFT projects. But one of the things which I believe is affecting every part of this country under that project is the hybrid nature of awarding contracts to the contractors. The Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we have 2 of such projects in my district. The contractor would have finished last year, but the manner in which the contractor is moving with those 2 projects is really very, very, very discouraging. And even to make matters worse, the district officials which would do their supervisory exercise, they are normally underrated by these contractors. And the reason being that the people who gave them the contracts are within Kampala here. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say that, first of all, we are aware that there is high increase in the number of learners in secondary schools, and we have very few infrastructures. And therefore, we keep praying to the government that the contractors whom they give these contracts should have financial muscles, so that by the time Ministry of Finance is not releasing for them enough funds, at least they have something to do the work to help our people. Right now, as I talk, the 2 secondary schools under UGIFT have stalled. Apparently, you see no work being done. I sit on the Committee of Education. We went there. Right Honorable Speaker, what you see there, you read just the book of lamentation. Let us open our eyes to ensure we benefit from this government money. Thank you very much.
Honorable Naomi. Honorable Naomi. Honorable Naomi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, there are members who think they own land titles of this house, who think other people should not speak, who think they are the ones who know about order, about procedure, about what. This house belongs to everybody. And I am not going to allow that nonsense. No, let members debate on merit. Sit.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
No worries. We have security here. You now may you speak. You are even disorganizing a report from opposition. Which kind of opposition are you? No. You speak.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thought he's an old member of this house, that he knows the rules, that when the speaker is speaking, you at least sit down. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the committee for the good report.
Nobody will kill the speaker, and if I am killed, I'm guarded by the blood of Jesus Christ. You speak. Elwell is my brother. He cannot do anything to me. Mama, you go ahead.
You are protected, Madam Speaker. Don't be scared by these men.
I'm scared Flavia might learn bad manners when she's still a young girl. You see that youth behind you. He still has 30 years in this house. You go ahead.
Thank you so much. I hope the answer will capture well. Madam Speaker, there are many things that have been raised. But to me, I think the Right Honorable Raphael Magezi, whom I believe has got a very long experience in local government, because he worked as a councillor together and then now he's a minister. There has been some tendencies of centralizing decentralization. Many things, why you hear of hybrid procurement and whatever, things are done at the center instead of being done at the
especially procurement.
Yes, at the local government.
You find procurement is done at headquarters, and then they just send contractors to the district.
If you feel like that our local people cannot manage, empower them. You can empower them by maybe training, and also, but giving these projects and you follow them up. For us, we have a feeling that there must be something that is done there behind that we don't understand. Because some shoulder work has been done in that kind of work. They give, the procurement is done here and is implemented there, and they tell those local people that don't monitor. It is us to come from Kampala to go and supervise.
Yes.
And things are going bad. The roads are bad, and even other projects. Another example is this one from Minister of Maif. In my constituency, they got that money. It was a lot of money, Madam Speaker. But if you see the kind of work, it is one of the bridges which I raised here, is one of that. A lot of money, 1.something billion, plus those other choked roads. But if you see the kind of work that was done, if it was given properly by the local government, I think it would have worked better. So, Honorable Minister, I implore you that you look around and see how you can implement the decentralization that is interested in the Constitution than the Central West. Then the 25%, Madam Speaker, give me a chance. 25% of this Maif project, still on the procurement. Those people who have even received it, they are saying that I would rather use my money to buy instead of giving the 25%. What they procure for them, these pumps are terrible. They are poor quality. They cannot even, those projects, that's why people cry that the government has not done anything, and yet it is putting in a lot of money, but because of the way it is done, it is implemented, it ends up to be a useless project. It's a good project that you should revise it. Can you use these recommendations so that we get something out of the project that government is putting in? I thank you.
Thank
Madam
you.
Speaker.
Joanne, DP, Flavia, Alan.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the report. I would like to address myself to two issues. One, the issue of unabsorbed funds, and the issue of local revenue. On the issue of unabsorbed funds, the committee observed that one of the reasons why the funds were returned was the issue of the ban on recruitment. And one of the recommendations the committee gives is to engage the relevant ministries. Now, in the issue of Madiokolo, which has the lowest, should I say the largest staffing gaps, we've engaged public service, we've engaged Ministry of Finance, and a few districts, special districts, I don't know what criteria they used, were allowed to continue. But the district with the largest staffing gaps is still on a ban. What criteria is being used? And Madiokolo, most of these gaps are in the education sector. And this has affected the performance of education in primary. Many colleagues say, oh, Madiokolo is the last in education. I am not ashamed. How do you tie someone's legs in a race and you beat them and you clap your hands? With the large staffing gaps, there is no way we are going to improve in our education status in Madiokolo and in Uganda for that matter. The second issue I'd like to bring to discuss is the issue of local revenue. Most of the new districts which were formed were left with a small revenue collection base.
Madiokolo, you're done?
I'm not done. Let me allow myself to address the issue of local revenue. The new districts which have been created, they don't have a large revenue pool where to collect revenue. Most of the revenue was left in the bigger districts. In the mother district.
Yes.
So we struggle, we
and
fight.
And then even the administrative units.
Exactly. We struggle and fight to see that some of the industrial parks, some of the investors can come to these rural places so that our districts can also create some revenue. Madiokolo's on the list for industrial park. But we still don't know. When the minister came here, there was nothing clear to say these are the districts that are getting industrial parks. And these are some of the areas where we can collect local revenue. So,
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. DP. The behind one. Then you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I thank the chairperson for the good report. Right Honourable Speaker, I have two comments. One is on the small-scale irrigation, where there is need for co-funding. The beneficiaries bring 25%, and then government brings in 75%. But there are two types. One where government co-fund 25%. And the beneficiary co-funds 75%. How does this come about? If you choose the option of solar, then you co-fund 25%, government brings in 75%. But where you choose the option of generator, where you use fuel, government brings 25% and you bring 75%. Now, many times, that money has been returned back to the center. Why? Because of few beneficiaries expressing interest in entering into this project, because they find it very expensive.
The committee has come up with a recommendation that if the 25% can be reduced to 5%, that is one option. But I've also talked to the would-be beneficiaries of this project. They are also proposing if it can be that that co-funding aspect of it on their side is converted into loan. They take it, but it is given it as a loan, and then they go and utilize it and then pay the loan afterwards. That would be another option, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Okello.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I have also two issues to raise, and I want to thank the chairperson and the committee for the elaborate report. In the report, on page 9, the chairperson gave reasons why there is a lot of funds that is coming back. One of them, he said, was in regard to teachers, that secondary school teachers that were recruited and not deployed. Right Honourable Speaker, this is a paradox. Because the local government cannot recruit the secondary school teachers. It is the central government that recruits. It is the central government that sends the money to local government to pay. Then it is the central government that does not deploy the teachers. Right Honourable Speaker, I know of a young man who is a teacher and has been recruited in this lot. The man struggled with his school fees. He was an orphan. After struggling a lot, he completes his studies and gets recruited. Now, for a long time, he's not deployed. The money for his salaries goes to a district and returns back. If it pleases you, could you allow the Ministry of Education and that of local government to synchronize this? This doesn't sound well at all. Issue number 2 is also related, Madam Speaker. Nearly every year or after every 2 years, there is validation of teachers, of other workers of local government, and the results are very similar. Hundreds of ghost teachers, ghost workers. And in this case, the chairperson actually enumerated 777 ghost workers of local government, which accounted for nearly 4 billion that was paid to ghost workers. Now we have a number of workers of local government who...
Flavia.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, and I want to appreciate PAC local government for the wonderful report given to us. Madam Speaker, I have 2 issues. The very first one is on the issue of royalties, under collection of revenues, and then us failing to get royalties where they are due. For example, Kasanda district is a gold mining area. But even the place, Lubali, Lugongwe, where gold, the highest percentage of gold comes from, is not developed, fully developed, because we do not get the royalties. Kasanda district by now should have tarmac in it, but we are eating dust day in, day out. Our roads are deplorable. Even the washrooms are terrible. We don't even have clean places where people can
they eat dust these days?
It's a metaphor. It's a figurative language, but we are basically, the dust is killing us because we have no single tarmac road. And I have brought this to the Prime Minister. UNRWA promised us a tarmac road up to now. Years and years passed. We have never got this. And yet gold every day is leaving Lugongwe, is leaving Lubali, it's going everywhere except in Kasanda. Shame. Right Honourable Speaker, the second point that I have is about education and the issue of inspection for service delivery. We have a school in Manyogaseka sub-county, St. Mary Goretti Seed Secondary School, which was constructed, and it was supposed to have been commissioned in 2021, but up to now it has never been commissioned. Why? It has cracks in the walls and on the floors. And when we went there to inspect it, the contractors were saying that they cannot...
The contractors were from where?
Sorry?
The contractors were from where?
Kampala. The contractors were coming.
And the supervisors were from where?
They were also coming from Kampala, but let me give information to the MP of Kasanda South to ambulate on this issue very well.
Youth.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Flavia, for letting information and accepting it. Honorable Speaker and members, the school she's talking about, Manyogaseka, St. Mary Goretti Manyogaseka City Secondary School, was supposed to be commissioned in 2021. But first, the school was constructed on a road reserve. So in the report, the chair has brought up that some of government projects are put on land where government has no titles. And
but how could they construct without having a title given to the ministry?
Yes, those are the things that we are questioning ourselves, because on this side forest reserve, we do have a health center 3. But the people who have been occupying this land...
Not a forest reserve, a road reserve.
A forest reserve.
Forest.
We have a forest reserve. They have put a hospital and also a secondary school. But the people, the locals that have been occupying this land, have been denied access on processing individual land titles to own the land, because they have been occupying it since way back. But some time back, they received some investors who had come with contracts from NFA and Ministry of Land that they have been used to do agriculture, to plant rice and other agri-products on that land.
The late NFA.
Yes, the late. the titles were cancelled, and right now people are trying to forge a way out to see that there is a sure land titles, but they have been blocked. The local government is claiming it is a forest reserve, but on it we see a secondary school that has consumed over 3.9 billion
A
up to now.
government secondary school.
Yes, over 3.9 billion has been spent on it,
Honorable
and
Minister,
it has not been commissioned up to now.
Honorable Minister, you need to take an interest on these projects, especially where the procurement is centralized here, and then these people are sent down there. And I thought we were promoting Bubu. We could actually use the people in that area that can be best managed by the locals, the local administration there. And then it is also risky for us to construct in areas where we don't have a land title. Because at the end of the day, if the owner of the land comes and says this is a road reserve or this is a forest reserve, so there is a problem. So we have started grabbing land. We've started grabbing land as government. And then the other thing is on the issue of late releases. The issue of the late releases and late procurement, and then late recruitment, and you come for a loan for supplementary here in May, and yet the financial year is ending in June. So you find it is really inevitable that money will be brought back.
Madam Speaker, let me conclude. I had given him information. In conclusion, I think it's very important that we have the accounting officers learn how to monitor and inspect our projects, but also we need to have more credible means of following the money that we put in these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I join colleagues in appreciating the Chairperson, Local Government PAC, for a good report. In his submission, Chair, Right Honourable Speaker, in his submission, he indicated that 446 billion shillings is returned to central government for non-utilization. Speaker, that is very, very regrettable. And when he read the list of districts that return that money, all those districts are ranking high on the poverty index. Very regrettable. the districts in the West Nile, and we all know that West Nilers have been highlighted as one of the areas that is poverty struck. Now, many of the districts in the West Nile are those districts that have returned money for non-utilization. It's very, very unfortunate that people who are more deserving, they have actually been denied, deprived of the services. For the weaknesses on our part, because a lot of the money goes late. I would rather, Right Honorable Speaker, that we plan that if in the first month of the last quarter, we cannot send money to the districts. Actually, the trend of the expenditure now should be educative enough to the ministry to know how much money they can raise in 9 months. Because money collected in the 11th month and the 12th month cannot be utilized. You know the procurement process that we undertake. That procurement process cannot facilitate districts to advertise and do everything and go through the process. We would rather say that monies that are sent to local governments end up to monies that are collected in the 9 months so that people can plan appropriately. Otherwise, for the people of West Nile to be denied services because finance sends money late is very, very regrettable. These are people who are poorest and they deserve services. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, on the matter of local government ministry of giving and taking away, for example, the people decided that more government units be created. And the Electoral Commission also created the units. But adamantly, Ministry of Local Government has refused to honor the parishes that were created. You'll find parishes of 15 villages. In my constituency, I have a parish of 10 villages. People have been denied of services. And now they are saying, we passed a resolution, but the members of parliament are not following up the matter. Yet we have followed up the matter with the minister. And the minister adamantly saying, no, I'm not ready to give parishes. And yet, you know, it has become a spending unit. A parish is a spending unit where PDM is allocated to parishes. So why do we lie to people that we have given when we actually have not given? You even give councillors to parishes that are not existing, that do not give money. Are we serious to our people, or are we just being deceitful? So I pray the Honourable Minister. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, first answer that.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable colleagues, there is a ban on creation of new administrative units by Cabinet, and it cuts across. As we speak now, Honourable Member of Parliament Utambala, who asked the question, it's not possible for me to advance any proposal on creation of a new district or a new municipality or a new sub-county or any parish or village. This Monday, Cabinet allowed me to present a Cabinet paper in 2 weeks on this matter. We have this matter of creation of new units, but also we have the matter of operationalization of the cities.
You want to create new units?
No, it is requesting government to pronounce itself as we head to the next elections. As she said, Electoral Commission.
Why don't you first operationalize the existing ones before you go on to creating more? Be it political, but first operationalize the ones we have.
Right, Honourable Speaker, the minister is demonizing my point. I didn't call for creation of new units. I'm saying government actually created the new parishes, upon which councillors were elected, okay? And when it came to now sending money for PDM, the minister, local government said, I don't know about them. How can you say you don't know about them when the Electoral Commission created them and the representatives were elected? Is government working in disunity or working together? So don't demonize the point I raised.
Okay.
This is even more clear. The law does not permit the Electoral Commission to create administrative units. The mandate of the Electoral Commission is to organize elections. Creation of administrative units is the mandate of, in the case of lower local governments, Minister of Local Government. In the case of higher local governments, the mandate is Parliament. So there is a situation which has happened in the country, that previously, districts would approve the proposal of the sub-counties for creation of the parishes, and that would be final. The law was amended to require that the resolution of the district is brought to the minister for creation and gazettement. So for me, under the PDM, we are actually following local government units which are gazetted, not those which have been created somewhere where I don't know. I thank you.
Rita.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for this opportunity. First is to thank the committee for the good work they have done. And I have a few issues. One, through you, Right Honourable Speaker, I think the minister has taken so long to come to the cry of cities. It would be imagined that when a giraffe stands in the midst of a national park, at least when your passers by, you can be able to pick it and see it. But the cities were created, but they have absolutely lacked attention. The committee was alluding to the fact that the issue of the wage bill, Right Honourable, in the city, it is more alarming. Barra City right now stands at about 20% of the health workers to be able to serve the Ugandans that live in that part of Uganda. And it is very heartbreaking that nurses, doctors cannot even take leave because they have no one to leave behind. So through you, Right Honourable, I think it is time. 4 years down the road, the minister has promised but not delivered. So through you, I wish you would compel him to bring the actualization of the cities as fast as possible. The other issue has to do with road fund and how the divisions within the cities are treated. They do not receive anything. And now there's a situation where the city is fighting for both the road fund and the local revenue earned from property tax. And the ministry knows about it. My good friend, Honorable Majezi, knows about this, but he has failed to come in to help them. Yes, and the local government, this very committee has been in Barra City to mediate on this issue. They have directed so that the centre is able to share its resources with the divisions, but it has not gone with attention. There is a controversial issue. Information?
Information from Basalero.
Okay, I allow information. Thank you. There is no one to give it.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to give further information to my sister. The 10 cities were operationalized July 20.
Were created
July 2020. I want to communicate to Parliament that up to now, the cities do not have the road units. And when you hear the minister say here he wants to present another paper in the cabinet to ask for more units, yet we have failed even to run the few districts that we have, the few cities that we have. It's a very big problem. Madam Speaker.
But I wish we were united in this House to agree that we don't want administrative units before the existing ones are operationalized. But you find people want to cut a sub-county to be a constituency.
Madam Speaker, maybe we would also request the minister to clarify here. We got it and we read it from the Minister of Finance that more 10 cities are coming.
From where?
Including Moroto and the rest, the Minister of Finance. Now the Minister of Local Government is here. Would want clarification on this matter. Why would you want to bring in more cities and more administrative units and you have failed to run the existing ones? It is a very big problem. That's information, Madam.
Thank you very much, my brother. Right Honourable Speaker, there is an issue that the committee recommended on to do with material testing for approved road works. I think there I was not satisfied. They did not dig deeper. This issue is exploited with contractors being able to obtain maram from communities, and yet they cannot, in Barra City, for instance, there are community members who are willing to give free maram. But because this is a strong requirement, when you take the samples for testing, they refuse to approve them. So that you go through a contractor to be able to procure. So they deny a community to be able to contribute for their own good and well-being of the roads, which I...
Honorable Minister.
Right, Honorable, just as one
clarification.
Right, Honorable. Please, Right, Honorable, just 1 second.
There is a motion from Moma.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm moving under Rule 71 that having exhaustively and extensively debated the committee report and having built consensus and agreement, I want to move that a question be put for adoption of the committee report.
Seconded by the whole House. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I now put a question that the report of Public Accounts Committee, Local Government, on the report of Auditor General on the financial year 2022-2023 on 37 districts, local governments, 3 cities, 6 divisions, and 10 municipalities be adopted by this Honorable House with amendments. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it, and subject to Section 53 of the Public Finance Management Act, we expect a treasury memoranda. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I had an opportunity yesterday to interact with the Committee on Physical Infrastructure relating to the bill before the committee on the Uganda National Roads Authority Repeal Bill 2024. And in that interaction, we agreed that we amend the certificate of financial implications. And they asked me that following that amendment, that I lay the certificate on table. So I beg to lay on table the said certificate. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, we have had controversial certificates of financial
Honorable
information.
members, I adjourn the House to 10 tomorrow.
Okay.